Hey guys, it was good. Triple J Boxing. So we just seen uh, Jake Paul versus Mike Perry, and gotta say it went the way I thought it would go. Um, in the sense that I thought Jake would win, and he would be the more technical, the more skillful, uh, more experienced guy in there, because to be honest, guys, I didn't really see Mike Perry fight that much, so I didn't really. I had really nothing to really go on with him, and I might have seen him fight before. I can't really remember, but I never really went back and watched. I didn't watch his bare knuckle fights or his MMA fights, or his one boxing fight. But yeah, guys. So I was kind of going to it unknown on his side, but I just assumed, um, okay, this guy doesn't really have any professional boxing experience, and Jake does, and Jake's younger, Jake's bigger, Jake outweighs him, as you could see in the ring. He looked noticeably bigger, so I wasn't really surprised. But the one thing about Mike Perry is he was only 32, so he wasn't old, which I liked, because I don't like how Jake's been fighting a lot of old guys, but um, for the most part lately. Um, so I liked how Mike Perry was 32, but I just think the skill gap, the experience gap would play out the way it did, and I was kind of right. I really didn't even, without even watching Mike Perry, I thought it would be like this. So, um, but yeah, guys, all those factors I just mentioned. The one thing I'll say is Mike Perry lasted way longer than I thought he would in that ring, because he pretty much didn't have that good of defense, to be honest. His hands were down, which sure you can get away with that if you have like good sense of distance. In boxing, you can get away with having your hands down, or if you're a good bobbing and weaving, good at using that as defense instead of having your hands up, movement like that, which Mike Perry wasn't really doing that much. There was spots in the fight where he did bob and weave and land good shots on Jake, good powerful shots, but and I don't know why he didn't do that more. Maybe he used too much energy, but other than that, he never really used it for defense. He used it for offense, and he didn't use it enough to bobbing and weaving, which he should have. He was mostly standing up straight, chin up, hands down. I thought he was going to get flattened when I seen that type of defense, but in which maybe other guys would have been flattened because he was getting hit flush, and he's just a tough guy, right? It's hard to knock him out cleanly. Jake ended up TKOing him, not fully knocking him out, but it was a matter of time. It seemed like he did have the momentum shifted a little bit in his favor. I think round for a couple rounds in the middle of the fight, it looked like Jake was kind of gassing out, and I think that's Jake's issue. I'm thinking his only issue I really have for Jake at this point, and it seems like I'm not saying that it's terrible. I'm just saying he noticeably looks tired, and he's breathing hard and looks sluggish at times. Now, it could just be some guys just look more tired than others, like breathing hard. It doesn't mean like he doesn't have energy just because he's breathing hard, but I mean, like, when I see other fighters, some of them don't even get tired throughout a whole 12 round fight. These are obviously top level guys. Jake isn't a top level guy, so I'm not going to be too critical of him there. He is a more explosive fighter, and usually if you have more fast twitch muscles and you're more explosive and you're more about the power, naturally you're going to get tired more than someone who is born with slow twitch muscles who is better at endurance. So it's just his natural being as well. His natural physiological, his body is naturally geared towards more explosive other than endurance. So obviously it doesn't help him in that department naturally, I feel like. He's more of a fast twitch guy. But I feel like that's the only thing I could really criticize is he noticeably looks tired. So maybe he could work on that. I'm sure he is working on it. Um, but I mean, he still carries his power throughout the fight. He just in some spots he looks noticeably tired, right? That's all I'm saying. But compared to the average person, his endurance is amazing, right? It's just on that level. On boxing endurance is totally different. And this is just Mike Perry he's fighting. Now imagine he's fighting, like he says, he wants to be the cruiserweight champion. Now what if he's fighting a cruiserweight? Like imagine, like just not too long ago, Usyk was the cruiserweight. Now imagine Usyk versus Jake, Canelo versus Jake, right? Zurdo Ramirez versus Jake. Like all these guys that are campaigning at cruiserweight. Bival at light heavyweight. Beterbiev. These are guys who are smaller than him actually, but imagine these guys against Jake. These guys' gas tanks can go the full 12 rounds and not even look that phased, right? So if that's his goal in becoming cruiserweight champion, I feel like it's definitely still a very tough goal to foresee for him, considering the way he's moving. Like I don't have a problem with the way he's moving. It's just he wants to be cruiserweight champion in 2 years, and I feel like the way he's moving, I don't think he can accomplish that. He's just moving too slow for that, to be honest. He's fighting. He's only fought one legitimate boxer out of his. He's been fighting for a couple of years. How long now? He's been fighting for years and years now, hasn't he? Hasn't it been like 4 years since he started fighting? So, and like I said, I don't think that. I think regularly 4 years in for a guy who had a lot of amateur experience, that would be like 4 years into the professional career would be that wouldn't be moving that slow really to be challenging for the title within 6 years of your career. But in Jake's case, he doesn't really have an amateur background, so he lacks a lot of that experience. So really, when you think about it, for him to, in 2 years' time, to be challenging for the title seems a little far-fetched because not only did he not have the amateur background, but look at the way he's moving. He's moving, the way he's moving is very smart. He's found a niche. He's found a very smart business plan of fighting legitimate guys in another sport in the UFC MMA world, because he's not fighting bums, but he's not fighting boxers either. So the guys he's fighting are very credible, but they're not boxers. So he's found a very good system, you know what I mean? But the thing is, this system will only take you so far, in the sense that if he actually really wants to fight a real boxer that's a cruiserweight champion. Like, just imagine Usyk was still the cruiserweight champion. Imagine Jake trying to challenge him. It just doesn't seem like he would be even near Usyk's level. And I won't even give Usyk. You could fight a smaller guy like a Beterbiev, Bivol, a guy whose campaigns at a lower weight than him, and it's just, I don't see him even challenging those guys yet. He's got to get that. He's got to like fight Tommy Fury again. He's got to fight guys on that, actual boxers, right? But back to the fight. Yeah, like I don't have a problem with Jake at all. I'm not hating on Jake. I'm just saying that's just going to be a very tough task, and I'm sure he likes the naysayers and the, I guess you could say, haters, but I'm not hating on him. I just think that's a very ambitious goal within 2 years, considering the way he's moving. Like, if he is actually fighting unless he just starts fighting total boxers in that whole 2 years, I could maybe see it if he's doing well, if he's winning still and he's beating these boxers. But if he keeps on fighting, like he wants to fight Pereira of the UFC now, he's fighting Mike Tyson. These guys aren't going to really help him, I don't think, anymore. He's going to reach a plateau, in my opinion, if he's just fighting these kind of level of guys. But that's my opinion on it, guys. Jake, he's too skillful and too experienced for even Mike. And Jake Paul's not even that experienced. But compared to Mike Perry. I think that is his downfall. Um, Mike Perry just was too inexperienced, didn't have the skills, and Jake did. That's what these other boxers have over Jake. What Jake have over Perry, you know what I mean? But Perry showed that he's obviously when you're tough, you can take you so far, and you can do decently well and get credibility, even if you're not that experienced. You can still make a good fight of it, which he did, and but it's just, and then you got on top of the fact Jake was bigger than him and heavier than him. You add that on top of it, it's just too many things were going against Mike Perry. Really, the only thing you could really give the edge to Mike Perry going into the fight is you could say maybe he was mentally tougher. Like he's more, like he was probably more exposed to these kind of fights at a younger age than Jake Paul was. I assume he talks about he was more in the streets and stuff, which that can maybe mentally harden you, but then Jake is pretty mentally strong as well. So I wouldn't call it a total wash. I would just say if you were gonna give an edge to Mike Perry, you would maybe give the mentality edge, just like because he had maybe a tougher life, you could say. But we don't even know that's 100% the case because Jake's mentally tough as well. So other than that, Jake had every other advantage, and yeah, but still, fight was better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was maybe just going to be a total wash and Jake was going to get him out of there pretty quick. Especially since, like, going into the fight, I really didn't know because I didn't know Mike Perry. But as the fight progressed in that round 1, 2, I thought it was going to be over pretty quickly because the defense of Mike Perry was pretty much non-existent. He was maybe awkward. So maybe that's why Jake couldn't get it done as quick as he wanted to, because like being in there is obviously totally different than just watching it. It appeared like Mike Perry just had his chin up, straight up. It looked like he was easy to hit, which Jake was landing pretty easily, I will say. But you could say that sometimes he was awkward, herky-jerky, and he was still live in there and dangerous. So maybe that's why Jake didn't get him out of there as quick as he wanted to, because Mike Perry's obviously still a dangerous man and can be herky-jerky and awkward at times when he dipped down and the hands down, not very like he's unorthodox, right? Jake's sparring guys that are actually boxers. He's not really sparring guys like Mike Perry. Maybe he did get guys to simulate that, but I bet you Jake's sparring actual guys that have more technical skills than Mike Perry did. So when you get a guy that's kind of awkward like that, it actually might give you problems for a little bit, right? But yeah, guys, good for Jake. Happy for Jake. He, I used to not like Jake because maybe just, I don't know, when you look, you judge him by his appearance. You think, oh, look at this guy. He looks like a, you judge him, right? And then he talks shit. And you think, oh, he gives off that villain kind of, which maybe he's doing on purpose as well. But when you think about it, seems like he's doing a lot of good things. When you see him talk, he seems like a decent person, actually. Seems like a good guy. I don't know him personally, so I can never say it for certainty. But maybe he's not that. It's just, you can't judge a book by its cover, what I'm saying. So people hate on him, but I mean, he works hard. He's determined. And you can't say everything's... A lot of people, too, say that things are handed to him. He got it easy. Which, I guess you could give the argument that a lot of boxers, they'll never make the kind of money he did. But he's still a hard worker. And he had to gain a lot of popularity through his other ventures before boxing to even become relevant, right? So it's not like that wasn't hard work either. So the guys... You can't say he had everything handed to him or easy. He worked hard for it. In other aspects before he got to boxing, right? But yeah, guys, yeah, Jake, he's, like I said, he's improving, but I think he will plateau if he keeps on fighting guys on this kind of level, right? He's got to revisit a boxer like Tommy Fury and other real boxers if he wants to. And that's only if he really wants to have a legitimate run at a title. Because if he doesn't, then this is fine. I'm fine with this. It's entertainment, and he's still fighting guys that will give us entertainment value and are legit, credible opponents, right? In MMA. But if he really wants to make a run at it, he needs to start raising the level, because he's gonna plateau if he keeps on. Even a Mike Tyson, I don't know how that's gonna really turn out. Mike Tyson's 58, and the more I thought about it, if I were Jake, I would maybe feel kind of wrong fighting Mike Tyson, in the sense that he's 58 and I could really hurt Mike Tyson. But I don't know, maybe they have some silent agreement in the back where they're not going to go too hard. But if that's not the case, I don't know. I would maybe feel guilty if I like really hurt Mike Tyson, to be honest, guys. Like he's almost 60 years old. Like if imagine you get in a fight with a guy, I don't know, like imagine you get in a fight with your grandpa and you knocked him out. You'd feel terrible, you know what I mean? Like I just don't see how that wouldn't sit right with me. But I mean, I don't know. That's my thoughts on it when I thought about it. I never thought about that. I kind of thought about it at first, and then I didn't. But then now that I revisit it again, Mike Tyson, he's almost 60, and then they had that health scare, and that's why they had to postpone it. He had that health scare on the airplane or something. So I don't know. Like I'm more kind of thinking that again. Like maybe it's not right for this fight to go through, because I know obviously it's still Mike Tyson. He still can hit hard, but I mean, this is a guy in Jake where he's got decent boxing skills. He's got the basics down pretty good, and he can crack. And it can only take one to really mess you up. And if you're a 60-year-old man, like that might not be good for Mike Tyson. I mean, that's all I'm saying. But yeah, Mike Perry. He put up a pretty good fight. He gave us the entertainment value, and he's tough, mentally tough. So I give respect to him. Jake Paul is just too good for him. And yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys thought about the fight. Yeah, but that's what I got for this video. It's Triple J Boxing. Take care, guys.